Guess my camera tipped a little bit here. It is the first day of April Fool's Day. No pranks in this video though, but there will be some maple marinated salmon candy once I get this fire rocking. So if you're new to this channel, I'm up in my sugar bush. If you have been on this channel for a while, you know I spend a lot of time up here in the spring, and it is a beautiful spring day. Basically rocking my regional uniform here, the plaid over hoodie, and I'm gonna get a fire going, evaporate down some sap, and I'm gonna cook. So what I've got, let me show you. I'll just bring you around over here. Got a fish cooker, and to go in that fish cooker I've got a big chunk of salmon, and I think I'm gonna try out this hot honey spice mix. This sounds really yummy, and I think because it's hot honey, I think it's gonna pair well with the maple syrup. It's basically all sugar and spice. There's chipotle, pepper, paprika, red pepper, black pepper, salt. So that's going on there. That should be good. And I also brought up a little bit of junk food. Unfortunately, this is the only bunny that I've seen up here this year. So I guess quick update to my hare habitat video. I got lots of tracks. I got lots of hares on video. Most of them active at night. I was going to do some snaring, but the snow conditions turned out to not favor snaring. So instead of having deep fluffy snow, we had hard packed shallow snow, which meant that the hares could run anywhere they wanted. And so there wasn't a real opportunity to snare them. And because I haven't seen any on all my hikes up to the sugar bush, I figured it also wasn't really worth hunting them. And yesterday was the last day of the season, so there will not be a hare hunt until the fall in all likelihood. But that's okay, I got lots of other things to do, lots to eat, and lots to keep me busy. And I'm going to start by boiling. I'll show you what I'm up to here. First things first, I'm going to move the Lifetime battery off the charger. So I'm charging it on this little 40-watt panel. This is that lithium battery that I've been using up here. It's a big upgrade for me from the ATV battery, a lead acid battery that I was using previously. And this big 100 amp hour battery comes over here, and I have alligator clips so I can set it up with this 12 volt RV pump. So that's going to pump 1.3 gallons per minute, and basically I pump filtered sap up to my gravity tank, which is currently over half full, but that feeds the evaporator. So the evaporator is on a float valve, so as it boils off, more sap comes in, fresh cold sap, and it works its way through the channels at the back, loses a lot of water vapor. There's another float valve on this side. So as my syrup pans decrease in volume, it brings in concentrated sap. And these are on a channel, so there's a concentration gradient whereby the hottest and most concentrated sap is up here in the front. And I'm on a thermometer. So once it reaches 7 degrees past the boiling point, I know that I'm almost at the syrup stage. So at that point, I filter through my Orlon filters into a catch bucket. That syrup then comes back down to the house with me, which is about 1 kilometer away, so I get a lot of walking in while I'm working up here. But that almost finished syrup comes back to the house where I can do my final boil, check the consistency with my hygrometer and my refractometer, or hydrometer and refractometer, and then final filter into jars. So currently I've made 31.5 liters of amber syrup, and that's off of 100 taps. Yesterday was a big day for us, so if you watched my last video, the maple marinated meat, and I messed that up. I was making a haiku and I got it all out of order. So here's the real haiku. Cooked over cooked on open flames, maple marinated meat, basted in bear fat. That's what it is. That's the haiku that I should have delivered, but I didn't. Anyway, I don't have a haiku for the salmon today, but maybe I'll think of something clever while I'm out collecting sap, which is what we did a lot of yesterday. There was several liters in every bucket, and there's just over 100 buckets. So we hand collected all that. I had friends and family up, so they all got to participate, which was nice for them and great for me, saved me a little bit of labor. But right now, my 2 big barrels are pretty full, which means if I'm going to collect sap today to bring it down and filter it, I have to make room by evaporating a whole bunch of sap in my pans. And just to kind of get an idea about what we're getting into, and while the fire warms up for that maple salmon, let's see what's in the buckets today. I'm kind of in the northern range of sugar maples. Don't know of too many sugar bushes operating north of me. But because I'm at the northern range, you can see there's still snow in the woods. Quite a bit over there actually in the shadier parts. So we have a longer, later season than most people. I think Southern Ontario is basically, they've already pulled their taps. So I'm still going. My forecast looks good for at least the next week. There's an unknown quantity of snow coming in 2 days from now, which will blanket these woods again. I'll probably have another video up here this season, so maybe you'll get to see an update from what it looks like now, and then how it changes when we get that snow, because I'll be up here every day I can be for the next little bit. And hopefully that extra blanket of snow kind of extends the season for us. Anyway, here's do a little bucket check here. So there's sap in the bucket. Check out the sap in the bucket. Check out the crab in the bucket. Anyway, sap in that bucket. I always like to check a few just to get a kind of a general sense for how much sap there is. Well, that one's got a fair bit more. I definitely, after working this sugar bush for a few years now, I have a pretty good sense for which trees are consistently producing more or less sap. I have some favorite producers, and then a couple of duds that are on my firewood list. This one's a producer though, although it has less than the other ones we looked at. And this one here, also only a small amount. So I'm thinking I saw maybe an average of less than 1 liter per bucket right now, which means I don't have too much sap to collect. But that'll still take me 2 hours or more to evaporate from the pan. So I'm up here for a little bit, and good thing I've got a chocolate bunny to eat, and we're gonna cook that salmon. Just gotta get this fire going, and my cute little dog was up here a minute ago, but I don't see her anymore. I don't know if she ran off. Hey, Ziggy! Ziggy! Well, if she took off, it's back to the house, which is about 1 kilometer away, which means, unfortunately, I might have to, once I get everything kind of rolling here, I might have to go back, collect her so she doesn't wander around by the road, come back up here. Then I'm going to be really famished. I'll have really worked up an appetite for salmon. So anyway, we're going to cook that soon. I found her at the house, so brought her inside, gave her a treat. If she's not gonna stay close, then I don't think it's good for me to be up here and her to be unsupervised. The fire didn't go out anyway, that's good. Can get a hot fire going, bed of coals, and then we're gonna cook some fish with maple. You want to get this syrup in the syrup pan nice and hot to pour onto that salmon. But I guess in the meantime we could set it up. Let's see what we can do here. Product of Canada salmon. Might run into a problem getting this to fit. I wonder if that's a thumbnail. Is this thumbnail material? Maybe right there, eh? Anyways, let's, you can see I'm putting as much effort into my thumbnails as usual. Let's get some salmon into the fishy thingy. It's not quite a fit, but I think it'll work out. And then, unlike my other one, if you watched my last video, there's like a sliding retainer clip that keeps this tight. This doesn't have that, so I'm gonna have to be careful how I handle it so I don't drop a whole pile of delicious salmon into the fire. At least with Ziggy at the house, I can leave this salmon sitting out in the air and I don't have to worry about it getting dog napped, dog stolen. I learned my lesson the other day because I leave my pump out, but it froze with sap inside of it and it didn't run, and then I was worried that I'd actually broken it, but I didn't. Once it thawed out, I just put it in the sun, thawed it out. But now at the end of the day when I'm done, I disconnect my lines and just shake any sap out of there so I don't have that problem again. And connect these guys up like so, and flip the switch. Quite a bit of ice in there right now, which is keeping this sap freezing cold, which is good. And I'm gonna pump it up in here. Just keep an eye on my level. I usually stop it when it gets to about the knot. And then that should free up enough space so they can start hauling buckets down and filtering some sap here. While all this stove comes up to temperature, so that I can shortly cook up that salmon, some candied maple salmon with the freshest maple syrup you can possibly get. It's starting to steam a little bit, but it's got to get way hotter. And it will. Filter and my pre-filter. Actually, yesterday we had so much sap I couldn't even get it to fit, so I still have a bucket just hanging around. Started buying this premix from hardware stores and sports stores, and I think it is pretty worthwhile. You can cut a lot of wood on a tank of gas, and you get quite a few tanks of gas out of a jug, and you have zero concerns about it spoiling, and it's really easy to store these. I've been thinking a little bit about fuel storage as part of my Hours to Days challenge, which is a video series that I've been working on to increase home resiliency. And I definitely learned a few surprising things about common fuels, especially as it relates to running a generator or cooking or heating your house during an extended power outage or emergency. So I'll probably talk about that in an upcoming video soon. I'm just going to let it broil on the skin side there. I don't mind if it burns a bit at that part. And I should cue up a little bit of maple syrup here. The hot stuff. Maybe I'll use the Syrupper's secret weapon, the old turkey baster. It's good for grabbing small amounts of syrup. It doesn't hold it very well though. Oh yeah. I think the better heat is a little further in. Need a hard, longer handle on this, and I think I'm gonna burn the bottom before I cook the top. So I'll do a little flip here, get some heat on the maple side. Wow, that is hot. I haven't done this before, so this is just a little trial and error experiment. Like it definitely cooked fish on an open fire before. Maybe not ones quite this thick. Although Chris and I caught some really nice rainbow trout one time and had a good open fire cook up with those. I'm gonna back this view out a little bit. I didn't realize we were so zoomed in. There. And Chris and I did a lot of cooking on wilderness living challenges too. I remember cooking a lot of pike skin on a grill over the flames. That was a trick from Wes S, I believe. Keep the heads on and the skin on, and then the fat will come through the skin and into the meat, so you're not just choking on dry fish protein when you're eating wild fish in the wild. Salmon's a little fattier though. Look at that. Fat's on fire. So I think we're almost there. This side's pretty crispy, but this side's still looking pink. The other thing about cooking in an evaporator is the heat is very quickly going up and then through the channels in the pans. You don't get a lot of heat right at the front here unless you kind of really damp it down to slow that hot air movement. So you got to cook further to the back. And I think we're almost there. Should have brought my leather gloves for this. Okay, whew. Let's let that rest up here for a second. More salmon flavor on there for maple flavored salmon. And we're gonna have some maple flavored smoke here too. It's not cooked on the top side here yet, so it's gonna have to go back in there. And I'm just gonna have to hold it deeper in and higher up so it gets more of a bake going on, I guess. Oh, yeah. Slow the draft down a bit like that. Maybe really slow it down. We'll just close that. Okay. You cook there. Okay, I'll just rest it there for a minute. Flaming salmon. Get the fire stoked back up here for sop. Doesn't take long for it to cool down from a boil when you leave the doors open, or you stop constantly shoveling firewood in. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'm just at the wrong height here. I guess if I do the splits, then you can see me, you can see the salmon, I can see the salmon. Oh yeah, that's good. Let's see, cooked. Mostly cooked. Mostly cooked. Maybe cooked enough. Ooh. I don't know how it can be that hot and not cooked. I think it's cooked. The maple's the first thing you taste. And that hot honey spice from Cabela's Bass Pro Canada. that's got a good little spice to it. I would maybe add a little bit more salt. Yeah, that's a good sugar bush supper. Ooh. Even though, just a second. I'll show you. Beautiful thing. So even though the skin is burnt, that means really burnt, you can see that the salmon's just flaking off of it really nicely, as long as you don't dig too deep with the knife. And that really helped to protect it while it was cooking. I probably wouldn't try this with a skinless salmon. I think the skin on is kind of key. Now I might have to burn the skin off of this rack. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just gonna mostly peel off. I should really have a fork, knife, spoon, bowl, and cup up here. I keep forgetting. Well, I had a little tin pot that I used as a cup. Probably drank so much syrup out of that thing, but I think I left it through it full of sap and it froze and warped. Either that or it ran hot on the stove and warped, but I remember to bring something else up. Well, my plan is to snack and sap. So I'm going to keep eating this salmon, collect the rest of my sap, filter it. I'm going to boil off as much as I can before dark. Got a couple hours left. And if I get enough boiled down, I'll be able to pour off some almost syrup and finish it at the house later. Okay. You probably don't want to watch me eat salmon for half an hour, so I'll call it there and say, take it easy, YouTube, and I'll catch you on the next one.